Happy spooky season, everybody. In honor of my upcoming favorite holiday, today I want to talk about one of my favorite Halloween movies, Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. Specifically, I want to talk about the character of Victoria because I've heard way too many people online hate on her and say that Victor should have ended up with Emily instead. And quite frankly, I think those people are suffering from a misunderstanding of the movie's ending and its themes. Don't mistake this as some sort of Emily hate campaign, though. I love Emily, and I'll be talking a little about her too, but first let's start with Victoria. Also, in case it wasn't clear, there will be spoilers in this video. If you haven't seen the film, I would definitely go and watch it. It's not very long, and it's incredible in so many ways. From the character designs to the stop motion animation to the story it tells. I cry both tears of joy and sadness every time I watch it. Okay, with that said, on to Victoria. In order to really understand just how cool Victoria is, first let's take a look at her home life. Her parents are both incredibly overbearing and narcissistic, caring way more about money and status than their daughter's happiness or even their own. By their own admission, they don't even like each other, so I can only imagine how miserable it must have been growing up in that house. But by some miracle, Victoria managed to break the cycle. She's incredibly sweet, and her dreams revolve around being married to someone she loves, not being a rich lady in a grand house. And I'm not really sure how she managed to escape her family's toxic views. Maybe the servants in the house managed to instill some better values in her, or maybe she got her hands on some books that opened her mind to outside perspectives. Regardless, I think it shows an incredible amount of resilience and intelligence on her part, that she's able to not only form her own opinions in this household, but also maintain them. And I'm sure there will be some people out there who will criticize Victoria for being quiet and not pushing back against her parents' nasty views. These are probably the same people who will judge Cinderella for not standing up to her abusive stepfamily. Don't mistake meekness for weakness, people. Sometimes it's just power under control. These women live in a time when they're entirely dependent on either their parents or their spouse, and rebelling could very well risk their safety. It's to Victoria's credit that she stands up for herself when she can, gently pushing back on her parents' views at first, and then later climbing out the window to save her man from an undead bride, and risking being thrown in an asylum to try and help him. Look me in the eye and tell me that's not badass. I'm waiting. There's also a moment towards the end where she sasses Lord Barkis in like the classiest way possible once she learns what he's up to. So yeah, this is a woman who knows her own mind, and you can bet your ass that she's not gonna go quietly. She's just learned how to pick her battles, that's all. She's also incredibly understanding, not holding it against Victor when he makes a mess of their wedding rehearsal, and is quick to help him out where she can. Believe me, if he doesn't marry this woman, I will. But one of the biggest criticisms I've seen leveled at Victoria is that she's boring in comparison to Emily, who was the more interesting character. And, like, yeah, duh. Emily's a sentient corpse who wants to get married. 9 out of 8 times, that's going to be more interesting than a living, breathing person. The story is also skewed to Emily's perspective, so we naturally sympathize more with her than with Victoria, who gets much less screen time. If we followed Victoria as the main character, it would have been the other way around. Those who say Victor should have ended up with Emily are also ignoring the message that you can't force someone to love you, and that true love means wanting the other person to be happy, even if that means being with someone else. In the beginning of the movie, when Victoria thinks Victor doesn't want to marry her, she seems less hurt by it and more worried, implying to me that she wants a partner who also wants to be with her, not one who is forced into it. This is in contrast to Emily, who still clings to Victor, even after realizing that he has feelings for someone else. For a while, she's even willing to let Victor die for her. I'm sorry, but that's not a reasonable ask for anyone in a relationship. And I'm inclined to think that Emily was more in love with the idea of love than she ever was with Victor, at least until the end. But like I said before, this is not an Emily hate campaign. She does come to realize that holding Victor to his promise would be wrong, and that he can share something with Victoria that he could never have with her: a life. Once she understands this, she lets him go. Her ending isn't a sad one, just bittersweet. She never got what she wanted, but she got what she needed, which was justice and peace. In this movie, the land of the dead appears to be some kind of limbo where souls linger until they get some closure. So hopefully now she can move on to a better place. Personally, I like to think she'll be reincarnated and find someone to love her in another life, but that's just my headcanon. Now listen, if you still prefer Victor with Emily, I can't stop you. You're more than entitled to ship whoever you want to. And who knows, maybe if they had lived at the same time, they may have ended up together after all. But just because you prefer one ending doesn't mean it was the right ending for this story. And for my part, I say Burton and crew absolutely nailed it with this one. But those are just my thoughts on Corpse Bride and its love triangle. Whatever your thoughts are, I want to hear them, so be sure and put them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more. Stay brilliant, everybody, and I will see you in the next one.